Hey everyone, and welcome to the results video of the LSM Launch Ride Creation Contest. In this contest, all the players had to create a Giga Coaster, and they had to use these LSM Launch Coaster Trains. It's a custom vehicle. Here we go. It's a custom vehicle, but it has sprites for all these new elements that the Giga Coaster track has. So I think it would be perfect to do a contest with those. Anyway, I'll try to keep this video a bit shorter than usual. I just recorded 50 minutes of video, but then later I found out that because of a Windows update, my mic wasn't actually recording. So yeah, this video will be a little bit shorter than usual, but I still hope you enjoy it. Anyway, I will start with the entry that got the lowest score, and I'll finish by announcing who's the winner of this round. Alright, in 29th place we have this entry from LOL69. LOL69 made a layout that looks quite similar to Top Thrill 2. Yeah, here we could see it travel through the layout. So first it gets, here's the station, then it gets launched partly up the top hat, then travels backwards through this spike, then over the top hat and back into the brakes here. Now I actually had to give LOL69 a small penalty because he didn't use the trains that were provided to everyone. He actually used a different kind of train, so that's not good. I probably should have noticed it while he handed it the entry, but oh well. Anyway, yeah, some people gave it a bit of a lower score because it really slams into the brakes here. Maybe it would have been nice to see the booster sprites here instead of these brakes. So it looks like the ride actually has magnetic brakes. But yeah, overall I think it's a quite nice idea. Okay, here's the entry from XYZ Coaster. Now it's a really a layout that only he could make. Coaster actually dives underwater here several times. It says hold your breath if you want to re-ride. Yeah, I quite like how these coasters meet up here in the middle, especially when you open them up. Also has some crazy supports here with the name will fall under 50+ mph winds. Yeah, that's probably what will happen. Right, here's an entry from Wes. He made this coaster called Squintomin. A really small coaster. Here you can see the trains. It actually has two trains with one of these swing launches. But yeah, I saw in the reviews that a lot of people really would have liked it to be a little bit bigger. Then probably would have scored a little bit better. But still, for the small coaster that's here, I think it looks pretty nice. Okay, here's the coaster from 3DS Bacon. Kind of looks like an American fairground coaster of sorts. So yeah, here you can see a big barn from which the coaster gets launched. Several inversions throughout the track. Also some interaction with some other rides. We can see these cars driving around here. Also some other stuff. It looks like construction work of sorts. Or a stunt track. I think a lot of people, what I saw from the reviews, would have liked to see some more decoration around the map. This part of the map over here looks quite boring. And probably a little bit more stuff around here. Maybe some rides, maybe some other decorations would have made this map score a little bit better. Here's the entry from Soccer Dude XX. He made this big coaster on top of a volcano. Probably not the safest spot to put a ride. Then again, I've also built several coasters in and through volcanoes. So I guess in the Roller Coaster Tycoon universe, anything is possible. Yeah, quite a lot of inversions in this track. Also quite a lot of height difference here. It actually dives down way into the depths, onto this lower ground, so it can also actually make it through these larger inversions. Several buildings throughout this map, well, in several styles. Also some interesting looking supports here and there. So yeah, I think it's a fun coaster in a fun setting. Okay, here's the entry from the Claude QC. He made this coaster which sits here on top of a mountain. Now, I actually quite like how this coaster is worked into the landscape here. Also some fun foliage. Not really sure what these grid pattern tiles over here are supposed to be. Maybe it's a mistake, I don't know. But yeah, the coaster also intertwined with a different coaster with this arrow style and the dragon trains. I think that actually works pretty well. I quite like how these are intertwined. Right, here's the entry from Memes RCT official. He made this really big mess of coaster track. I think it's quite a pleasant mess of coaster track. I quite like how this looks. Also some mess of path below it. Not really sure if these two path types are the best combination. I think these gray blocks actually work better with these black metal blocks. But of course, that's just my opinion. Also, this side of the park, I think it looks a little bit more, messy. I'm not really sure if dirt is the best decoration to have under a water park. This looks like part of a water park. Probably some grass and some foliage would have worked better here. Overall, I quite like how the coaster looks. Okay, here's the entry from Levels. Levels used an interesting palette with black, white and grey. Those are the colors popping out. And what's special about Levels' entry is that he actually didn't use any scenery. So everything that you see here is just paths, path objects, and the rest are just all landscape and coaster tracks. Or track pieces, I should say. So yeah, I think it's incredible, all the buildings that he put together here with all these coaster pieces and path pieces. I think it's really fun to watch. Although, of course, in some parts of the park it doesn't look really completely finished. For example, these paths here probably could have used a fence around them of sorts. Now, Levels did say that it wasn't completely finished, so that's probably why it looks like that. But still, the part that is finished, for example, I really like the supports for this monorail. Okay, here's the entry from Slopdart. Slopdart made this huge coaster, very colorful landscape. Yeah, quite a fun layout, lots of inversions, also some straight track here in the middle. I generally recommend to keep your coaster a little bit off the floor most of the times, because then it shows supports under it, and yeah, I generally prefer how that looks. Of course, that doesn't mean that you also have to do it. It's just what I prefer. Now, very colorful trees. I usually don't use these very bright greens for my trees, but I think it actually works in combination with the other trees that are used. As for the waterfall, I always like to keep a little bit more randomness in my waterfalls, so not have them straight, but also have some parts sticking out. I think that's a really easy way to make your waterfalls look a little bit more interesting. But still, for a first entry from this contender, I think it looks great. Okay, here's the entry from Mubisis. Mubisis made a huge map with a big water park. And over here in this little corner is the LSM Launch Coaster. When you make these kind of maps, it's usually a good idea to actually make the ride that you have to make for the contest central focus of the park. That's usually what people like a little bit more. But still, a fun little coaster. I believe it actually swings back and forth several times. That only has this little booster section, so it takes a little bit of time before it actually gets up to speed. So that's an interesting design choice. Also quite like the station with this statue on top. Yeah, I think that's really fun. It probably would have been nice if it actually was in the middle, maybe a little bit larger. Probably would have been appreciated a little bit more. But still, what's here, I think it looks pretty nice. Okay, here's the entry from Inferno the Fox. Inferno the Fox made this Sonic the Hedgehog themed coaster. Gets launched from this tunnel, travels up here, goes through several helixes, several inversions. It actually also goes off the track here for a little bit. You can see it over here. And then you can collect these rings. But yeah, I really like how you can immediately see that it's Sonic the Hedgehog themed. Or at least for the people who played these older games. I really like how these rings were made. Looks like these window walls were used, but with the actual wall part being invisible. I think that works really well. We can also see some pixel art throughout this entry. We can see Sonic, Knuckles, and this is probably Tails. Yeah, I think it's a really fun entry. Okay, here's the entry from Techno Kibi 91. He actually used all these wooden supports under the coaster. I think this is the only entry that does that, but I think it does make for an interesting looking coaster. Kinda reminds me of the Disney coaster, which also does that. I believe it's now called the Giga Coaster. But yeah, also quite like how these loops line up over here. That looks pretty fun. Only does that from one angle though. But yeah, quite interesting design choice. I quite like it. Also some beautiful decorations in between these helixes of the coaster. Yeah, overall, I think it's wonderfully decorated. And we can also see some other fun and interesting rides throughout the park. Okay, here's the entry from GoldSeek2888. I think it's the first time he's joining one of my contests. And he created this huge coaster. It's almost 3 kilometers long, a huge amount of track here. So we're not going to follow it around all throughout this video. By the way, if you want to check out any of these entries for yourself, after this video, you can download them from my Discord server. The link's in the video description. But yeah, I think the coaster looks great. Also some nice custom supports. I'm not really sure about all these curves in the supports. That's probably something you wouldn't see on a real coaster. Or maybe it's just some decorative parts that aren't actually necessary. Because I can also see these big triangles here. But yeah, nice that we can also see a lot of these custom supports. That's always appreciated. And I also really like how the pathing is done here. Also with a really nice wall or fence around it. And some beautiful planters here in the middle. Wonderful job. Okay, the next entry is from Savvy Adam. Savvy Adam made this Eurovision themed coaster. Now, I think the coaster looks great. Yeah, there's a nice flow, and I like how these elements are situated near paths. Especially like this turnaround here in the middle of this path circle. That's some great interaction moments there. Also travels right around this swing ride. Maybe a little bit too tight, but again, some fun interaction. Now, this entry is themed after the Eurovision Song Festival. So we can see lots of different flags here. We can see a Swedish flag, a Norwegian flag. This must be Netherlands or France, not really sure. And lots of these rides. I believe they're themed after songs in the Eurovision Song Festival that won. Now, I'm not really familiar with most of these. So yeah, you can look at it for yourself when you check out this entry. But yeah, I think Savvy Adam did a really nice job here. Okay, here's the entry from Herbert and Manticore, and they did a recreation of Copperhead Strike. Now, I really like the color that they chose for the ride. I think it looks quite a lot like the original one. Also love this second launch track of the coaster. Also just like the real one, it has an airtime hill here in the middle. I think they did it in a really nice way. You can see some booster pieces over here, but also they're connected with some of this mini suspended coaster track. I think that's a really nice way to make it look like a launch track. Yeah, a nice layout as well. Some custom supports. I think that looks really good. Although the surroundings of the ride, yeah, I just looked on Google Maps. The surroundings of the ride are also pretty bland. And looks like they also did that here. I think it's always a good idea to try and spice up the surroundings a little bit. Maybe some staff scenes or some vehicles or something else going on. I think that would have really helped here. Okay, then we have the entry from Sol X. This was actually one of my favorite layouts of the round. I think the coaster floats really nicely, especially around here. This helix just looks gorgeous. But yeah, Sol X just did a wonderful job on the track layout of this coaster. You can also see some custom supports over here. Quite simple, but done in a really nice way. But yeah, Solex, I think he did a wonderful job on, especially on the layout of this coaster. Now, I would have liked it if there was any other rides other than this top spin, but I believe Solex didn't really have time for that anymore. Okay, here we have the entry from Madesog, or Glazed 9 Hams, as he goes by now, maybe just for this contest. Here we can see a big stage, also with lots of guests in front. Oh, these all look like frozen handymen who have been given a different costume with a plugin. But yeah, it must have been quite painful to place all these different handymen over here. But yeah, I think it looks great. And also we can see a little mosh pit going on here in the middle. This stage also looks incredible. Especially love these Yeah, but this looked like a big screens which give a close-up of the singers, or the band members, I should say. This guy plays the guitar. This guy also plays guitar. But yeah, I think that's a really cool use of these otherwise useless expansion objects. Now we can also see a LSM Launch Coaster over here. It's not the most spectacular layout, as I can see. I think you could even say it's quite yeah, it looks like a quite tame layout. But of course, it looks like most of the effort actually went into making this beautiful stage here. Yeah, a wonderful entry from Madezog. Right, here's the entry from Dark Raider. Dark Raider made this beautiful castle over here, also with a coaster traveling through and around it several times. Yeah, I really like seeing this coaster travel all around this beautiful landscape here. The rock work, I think it's done in a pretty nice way. You can also see this log flume passing around here. That's some really nice interaction. One thing I didn't really like is that I always saw this train stop here on the brakes and wait before it got launched. Maybe the timing was not completely right here yet. I believe Dark Raider said its entry wasn't completely finished yet, so that might be the reason why. But still, for an entry which he said is unfinished, I think it looks incredible. And definitely one of my favorites of the round. Right, here's the entry from Low Poly Surf. Low Poly Surf made this coaster called Rogue Wave. And yeah, you can see the coaster travel around here. Yeah, it stays quite low to the ground and has lots of banking difference and lots of small hills to emulate these waves. I think that's pretty creative, very different from most of the other entries in this round. And I think it actually works pretty well. Now, also some other rides over here. Now, I think Low Poly made these paths look incredible. Quite like the fencing around them. Although maybe, in my opinion, so maybe a little bit too much path. So everything seems to be surrounded with a path here. There's also a thing as too much path. But still, I think it does look incredible. Okay, here we see the entry from Clem. And Clem made this coaster which actually travels around the track 3 times. And the ride actually only has 1 station. So every train yeah, goes through all 3 of these tracks before it returns. And every time it does that, you can see it interact with 2 other trains on the track. I think that's really well done. Yeah, it's timed pretty well, and I like how they all meet up here in the middle again every time. They travel through and around several of these futuristic looking buildings. I think Clem did a really nice job on these buildings. Yeah, it's just really fun watching these coasters travel around here. Also some fun interaction with this first generation drop tower here, which the coaster passes right over. Yeah, wonderful entry from Clem. Okay, here's the entry from Lurker. Lurker made a beautiful landscape here, lots of rock work and lots of foliage, also in the autumn colors, so lots of brown, orange. I think that looks pretty cool. And of course there's also a launch coaster in this entry which sits here in the middle. Here you can see the coaster leave the station. Here's the first launch track. After that it travels up this vertical track. After several inversions. And finally here's a second launch track, after which there's a cobra roll and some other inversions before it returns back to the station. But yeah, very Lurker entry, lots of beautiful landscape, some other cool rides in the park as well. Yeah, and some Halloween-like decorations. I think Lurker did a really nice job here. You can definitely tell that it was made by Lurker if you've seen more of his entries. Wonderful job. Right, here's the entry from DJ Vesey and Johnson. They made this behemoth of a coaster. It travels all throughout the land. Now, you can see the station for the coaster. I think it looks great with all the bright colored foliage here on top. But also the structure of this station. I think it looks amazing. Also love all the rock work below it and all these trees, which have been colored white to make them look like clouds. Yeah, I think this looks very creative. Love the landscaping, love the decorations. And it's also really fun to follow the coaster throughout this entire layout. Now I'm keeping this video short, so I'm not going to follow the coaster through this entire layout, but we can do a small bit of it. You can see high top hat, where it passes over everything else. Here's another really cool inversion. So yeah, this I think this entry looks really great. And it's probably the best work we've seen from these two players so far. It's full of other cool rides as well. Here you can see one of these sort of star flyer-like rides. And yeah, it's just really fun to follow the coaster through this park. I definitely recommend downloading this entry for yourself and checking it out. Okay, here's an entry from Swarmot. No, he hasn't joined any contests in a long time, so it's really fun to see him in one of them again. Yeah, Swarmot did a really wonderful job with this coaster here. It's a fun little layout. Yeah, the first section of the coaster quite tame, at quite low speed, but then later it picks up more speed at the second launch, then travels through the 0G rule and this inverted top hat. Yeah, some beautiful landscaping here, lots of rock work and foliage. And yeah, I think Swarmot also made some beautiful buildings over here. These buildings look incredible. Yeah, lots of different objects used that you often that people often forget about, but this is a really nice combination. And also here we see a little townscape, also with some beautiful buildings. We even see some coaster car pieces used over here. I think that's really creative. So yeah, a wonderful job from Swarmot once again. Nice to see you back in a contest. Okay, here's an entry from Berm de Bom. Now he made a huge map. This entry is 30 by 120 tiles. People were allowed to use 3600 tiles. So yeah, it's fun to see someone use such a stretched out map. Now the coaster also occupies a large part of this space. The coaster is huge, and yeah, it actually consists of two tracks which are dueling with each other. I believe it's just actually just one coaster. Yeah, especially like this part here where both trains travel in opposite directions. Also custom supports throughout the track. Yeah, that's that just looks incredible. But I also love all the decoration below the track. Here you can see all these gardens, and the station for the ride also just looks amazing in this Asian style. So it is an incredible job from Berm de Bom. Okay, next up is the entry from Natty's Dreamland and Vonterra. Beautiful landscape here. Love the shape of the map with this round shape. Everywhere throughout the map there's really nice decorations. Like it's themed to Maleficent, or however that's pronounced. Mistress of Evil. There's a beautiful custom tree over here, which this coaster travels around, kind of like a Cheetah Hunt. Coaster gets launched up here, travels around, then it goes down again. But yeah, unlike Cheetah Hunt, it actually has quite a few inversions throughout the track. And yeah, just a really nice layout, which really travels throughout this entire land. Especially love this section here in front of the waterfall. That this piece of track just looks incredible. Also looks really fun with these supports. You can actually see it throughout this entry. There's actually a beyond vertical drop here. Yeah, it's a wonderful team effort from Natty's Dreamland and Vonterra. Okay, here's the entry from Colorblind Unicorn. Now, a Colorblind Unicorn made this a really fun transfer track here. And then this coaster after that gets launched and travels throughout this layout. I think he made a really cool and compact layout with lots of different elements, but also it's decorated very nicely. We can see lots of near misses with other stuff throughout the track. Yeah, and wherever you look, there's just cool stuff which the coaster travels through and around. Just yeah, just an endless stream of cool elements here, and lots of interaction throughout the track as well. The colors of the track kind of remind me of the Smiler. Not really sure if that was an inspiration for a Colorblind Unicorn, But I think he did an incredible job here. Also, we can see some sloped brakes here. Again, some more decorations. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the best decorated entries of this round. And I really like the layout that Colorblind Unicorn made. Right here we have the entry from Bear and Mulpje. They made this huge orange coaster which travels all throughout the map. And it actually has yeah, some amazing interaction. We can see several trains going throughout the track at the same time, and there's some really cool interaction moments. Like over here, we can see a train getting launched up the hill, and at the same time another train travels through this inversion here. No, it's actually also a log flume traveling up here in the middle, although the log flume only has 8 boats, and with this long layout it probably has room for way more. So that's why we don't see any boats here very often. But yeah, that's just a minor nitpick in this map. I think the map looks incredible. We can see all these really cool buildings, all the really cool landscaping throughout the map as well. And yeah, there's lots of cool interaction moments. Bear and Mulpje also did an incredible job in this map. I think they're together, they're a great team. Also love this helix around this Enterprise here. Kinda reminds me of the Dutch coaster Phoenix. And they also built a ride there in the middle of one of its helixes. Alright, there's just 2 more maps remaining. I will first show both of them, and after that I will reveal which one is the winner of this round. Okay, here's the entry from Beautiful Monday and Hex. And together they made this coaster which was inspired by Helix. So over here we have the station of the ride. From the station the ride drops down into a corkscrew just like Helix. After that there's a launch and there's several more elements. I really like this, the look of this inversion over here. Yeah, it's such a nice element to see. Here we can actually see the train traveling throughout the layout. And here we should meet up with another train. Yeah, again, a really nice interaction moment here. That's some really nice timing over there. Now, finally, further on in this layout, you can actually see sort of a switch track here. So, yeah, train actually first partly makes it up this top hat here, then it rolls back downwards, and then it travels onto here, onto the spike, and then finally here it gets launched with enough speed to actually make it through the top hat. I think that's a really cool element. And yeah, it's actually some interaction here with this huge log flume as well. That's really nice. Well, also some cool decorations here on the edge. We can see a lot of people you can see a lot of people use these kind of rocks. I think they actually work really well when you spam them. Yeah, a wonderful entry from Hex and Beautiful Monday. Okay, and here's the final entry of the round. This is the entry from Sordid. Sordid reimagined the coaster Thunder Dolphin. No, it's actually quite compact. It fits all in this screen. Here's the station of the ride. Coaster gets launched here throughout this and travels throughout this entry. Actually, one of the nicest moments of this coaster is when it swoops around and then travels through these keyholes. I think that's a really cool moment. Now, I'm not really sure, but I believe the real Thunder Dolphin also travels through a big Ferris wheel. Maybe that also would have been nice to see here. But yeah, I really like also the landscaping under this. Yeah, I actually like that you can see this mall over here with several levels. And it's just really fun to watch these guests walk around here. You also see another ride below here. But yeah, this map just looks incredible. Love all the buildings in the map, all decorations. You can even see a little screen here with a cool dude in the supermarket. Probably some advertisement. But yeah, just wonderful decorations and the trick have been used all throughout the map. I think the traffic here also a really fun element of the map. Really crowded traffic here. And also a really cool part here is this baseball field. Also with some seating here for guests so they can actually use these grandstands. Yeah, just one amazing entry from Sordid and a really fun coaster. Alright, now it's time to reveal which one of these last 2 entries is the winner of this round. Is it this Thunder Dolphin from Sorted? Or is it the Autumn Helix entry from Beautiful Monday and Hex? And the winner of the LSM Launch Coaster Contest is Sorted with his Thunder Dolphin. Now these scores of the last two entries really close together. Actually, throughout this contest, lots of scores were really close together. So yeah, really every vote mattered. A lot of people voted in this contest, so for me that's always really nice to see. Yeah, we will start a new contest soon. It will be revealed yeah, pretty soon after this video has gone live. Yeah, if you also want to join one of these contests, just become a member on my Discord server. You can find a link in the video description. Yeah, you don't have to worry because Discord is completely free. Alright, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, please consider giving it a like. It would really help out my channel. And I think it will be fun to end this video with a ride on this roller coaster. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.